might actually.
Hi, Tim.
Hey, Eric.
How's it going?
Not bad. So, Eric, regale me. Cyberpunk 2077, you got it. For your birthday. Happy birthday, Eric.
Thank you. I'm dirty 4.
So, you said you got some pros and some cons and you wanted to talk about it. Fill me in on the world of Cyberdicks 2077.
Yeah, I know you mentioned, like, you were expecting a word avalanche.
Yes.
So, yeah, I got you.
Bury me.
So, I'm one of the poor folks. I got it for PS4. Regular PS4, not PS4 Pro.
Right.
Not, the fancy machines.
We're not bougie out here.
We're not bougie. We're anti-bougie.
We're anti-bougie.
Have you seen the articles, the news, the YouTubers talking about the graphical fidelity of PS4 regular versus everything else?
Yeah.
So, here's the deal. I put it in, installed it. By the way, we came over tonight. We were going to live stream.
Mm.
The motherfucker is still installing on Tim's PS4. So that's a problem. Because you have a day 0 and a day 1 patch that are like fucking half the length of the game, basically.
Yeah.
That's a fucking problem. So,
which takes forever because fucking Final Fantasy was a big patch too, and it didn't take all day.
Yeah, like Tsushima didn't take that long. Red Dead Redemption didn't take that long. So that's telling already before I even start playing the fucking campaign or anything. So it's weird when you start the game. All the scenes from the trailers where it's like, welcome to Night City, and you have like the gangs and like little clips of like talk shows and things like that, but like the pace is like jittery, but the music is going, and I'm like sitting there like trying to get into the music, and I'm like, okay, but like the graphics are like off and like everything's jumpy, and I'm like, is that just by design? Is that like an effect? So I hit start, and then the menu screen comes on. And it's still kind of jittery, and I'm like, all right, that's weird. Let's just get into it. So I go through character creation. Character creation is weak.
Oh, that's sad.
It's weak, and it almost reminded me of like regular Dark Souls character creation, but there's dicks and like vagina. That's literally the only difference. Yeah, like. They really hyped it up to be like, you're going to spend hours customizing your own, cyber avatar, like, all these different wires and cool mohawks and shit. They got, about between 20 to 30 hair types and, ear shapes and shit like that. But like, when it goes to like voice, it's like dude or lady, the end. Like, Saints Row had more.
I was going to say, so you don't get the Nolan North option?
No, Saints Row, the third character creation, like, smashes Cyberpunk.
Baller.
Yeah.
Baller.
For Saints Row.
Right.
Not for Cyberpunk. Right. Not for a game 8 years later.
Yeah.
So I was like, Because, remember, I was going to make a Janelle Monáe character for the Cyberpunk thing, and, like, I ended up with not that. There wasn't anything that matched, and not
you
even.
You ended up with Janet Monet.
Janet Mullet.
Janet Mullet.
Like they don't even have an option where like you have like shaders, or here's a nose, and you like smack down. You can like nose width,
right?
Bridge width. You can't even do that. It's like here's 15 jaws. Pick one. I'm like, okay. If you just had like 10 jaws, but I could change the sizes, I could mold my character's face. That seems easier to me. They don't have that. Okay, that's cool, I guess. Let's just keep going. Boobie size. Okay, cool. There's only 2 boobie presets. There's only 2
ridiculously huge?
Yeah.
Or non-existent?
Pretty much. They have 2 dick sizes. You can like change the girth of the dick, but you can't really do anything else with it. You can choose pubic hair, which is oddly specific. I went with the 70s style because
I was gonna say Bush.
I went full Bush because I'm a 70s man. But I took 15 minutes from my character, and that was me deliberately taking my time, going through every single facial, hairstyle, everything.
That's sad. I spend longer in the creative wrestler suites in WWE games.
I remember just taking 30 minutes, just incredible, and
Right.
then 30 minutes on Sabu. I'm making my whole roster. You know what I mean? But with Cyberpunk, it was like I feel like they took a bunch of it out. It felt like missing.
Do you feel like this is almost like what they did with Watch Dogs, where they're like, look at how amazing this game is going to be, and then when they release it,
Well,
it's super stripped down.
I wouldn't say it's stripped down, but I feel like this game is meant for PC only.
Wow.
Yeah. So we started up, and I kind of alluded to this in the past, but I guess in the past 2 days. But if you can imagine GTA 4 driving in a bigger city, so maybe take Nico Bellic and put him in GTA 5, but also like Cyber Dicks. That's kind of what the game is. And I'm okay with that. Like, I like GTA 4. The driving in 4 didn't bother me. The size of the city, I feel like overwhelms the PS4. Because, dude, you can walk in the city and it's like, fine. If you run, shit's gonna start to pop in and out. Like,
Ooh.
people are gonna disappear and then come back. Just running down the sidewalk. And I'm okay with that. It doesn't bother me personally.
Mm-hmm.
But for somebody that's expecting next gen, they're gonna be fucking pissed.
Man, my fellow Polish people are letting me down. What's going on, Poland?
So you start the game, and what I thought was another kind of disappointment was you have the 3 story paths. You have Corpo, Street Kid, and then fucking, the desert guy, who's like, we drive, and then we fuck, and then we sing at the campfire, and then Keanu shows up. So basically what I found out was each story path has 1 hour of unique story. And it all converges when Keanu time happens. So you're not really getting 3 stories. You're getting 3 prologues. That kind of pisses me off. Because they told you 3 life paths, but you only really have 1 life path, but you have a cool costume and cool side characters that probably get fucking murked. That's not really a spoiler. Your sigh of disappointment?
I don't understand. And you and I were talking about this earlier tonight.
Take a sip of tea.
Yeah, you and I were talking about this earlier tonight. And I know I beat the drum for Chunsoft a lot. As I was telling you, you were saying that you were playing Cyberpunk. I got sucked into the Somnium Files today. I just don't understand why game companies feel like it's more important to upgrade the combat or the driving or something like that and just completely avoid good storytelling.
The obsession with graphical fidelity has become a joke. To me, it's become it's like a sick joke.
Yeah.
Like you're gonna shit on Death Stranding for being a walking simulator. Here's the thing. I can play Death Stranding tonight. It will not crash.
Right.
It will not freeze.
Right.
When I played Cyberpunk first session, running and then like a dude vanishes. The thing that was the big deal online was there was a game-breaking bug in the tutorial. The tutorial fucks you over, and that's what the Day 0 patch was for. The Day 1 patch was supposed to fix, and I could be wrong, but shooting a guy his gun stays floating in the air while his body hits the ground. That happened to me. I walked by a floating gun and then it hit the ground. So that's what either day 1 or day 0 patch was supposed to fix. So check this out. What I started to do in the game was I started to use the glitch for my advantage. I found a sledgehammer and I became Triple H. So what I would do is I would go into these side missions because you're working for a cop while you're doing missions for the big guy with the dreads from the story trailer.
Mm-hmm.
Where he's like, you wasted my motherfucking time.
Right.
You start working for him.
Look like fucking Mark Henry had a baby with Rick Ross.
It's sexual, baby. That's him.
It's sexual, baby.
So I'm doing missions for Sexual Chocolate, and then I'm doing police side missions. So this cop lady is like, you need to go get these cyber psychos, and I'm gonna pay you one at the table. Go get them. So I fight this one dude, like hand to hand. And then I get a sledgehammer, and I'm like, oh, let's fucking go.
It's on.
I go into the one spot, and it's like, you gotta kill the chick named, Ishimori at the arcade. I'm like, let's rock. I fucking bust in. I got my sledgehammer. So the sledgehammer is so OP. You hold down R2, you walk up to a motherfucker, let go, and the game will freeze, and it stun locks them. So I got 4 dudes, and I corner myself in the corner, and I'm fucking swinging and like stunned for glitching these dudes. I'm like, boom, 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 dead. Victory. I'm like, fuck yeah. Let's do 8 more of those.
But like, that's the sad thing, is that as you said, the game has been in production for 8 years.
Yeah. I think what they did, dude, and this is not really an indictment on just CD Projekt Red, this is just an indictment on games development. I think it was like Anthem. I think they didn't know what the fuck story they wanted to tell until year 5. And then they decided to scrap that 2 years in. So we got 2 years of a lot of shit just smashed into a city. And even in the driving, you get in the car. If you notice, when CD Projekt Red put out the trailers, and even stuff like from like 18 hours ago, it's like, look how nice it is on PS4 Pro. Yeah, your car is going in neutral, buddy. Why don't you put that shit into high gear and turn the corner and see how fast your buildings load up when you turn the corner? Because the city is fucking massive. That's great. You can actually walk into buildings, walk up, catwalks and fucking fire escapes, and you're on rooftops, and like shit connects. And you can see all the way down like full city blocks, and you can see people walking. It's not as good as the trailers, but they're there, and the people are in there walking. Cool. But then you get into a skirmish or whatever, and it's like the character that you're facing like is here now, and then you got shot, and then you're dead, and you're like, okay, let me redo that 15 minutes of shit. They give you a quick save option, which is great, because I think they did that on purpose, because when you glitch out, you could just quick save and you're back right before it fucked up. But when I was in sledgehammer mode and I was taking out those dudes at the arcade, it said leave the room. So I left the room, game fucking crashed. I've had my PS4 5 years. It has never crashed, ever. But it did with Cyberpunk. And Sony, like the message from Sony was like, it was a trip. It was like, do you want to report a problem? I'm like, yeah, sure. Just in case if it's bad. And then the next pop-up was like, we will send the gameplay footage to our server team. I'm like, you're recording my shit?
Thanks, Sony.
Goddamn, Sony. Are you hearing all my farts? Are
Might.
Are you hearing all my profanity?
Well, one thing that I thought was nice with is that when you play the game, there's a lot of subtle things that I like. Like, yeah, it's, the programming for the lip movement and the mouth movement is for Japanese, obviously. But, like, when they're talking to each other, like, if they're talking to a character, if there's 3 characters in a room, and all of a sudden, X person over on this side is talking, both characters shift their attention to this character. It's like a real conversation.
I would say Cyberpunk does a really good job with that. And, like, with your side character that you're talking to, like for me, like when I did the corpo, you're with the guy Jackie from the trailers, and he's like, fuck, man, you know, like he's like rubbing his forehead, and he's like the human movements, like it's not uncanny. It's not like, oh wow, what are we gonna do?
Right.
Like he's actually like, fuck, dude, like this is crazy. Like he's like rubbing his chin and shit. You take the drinks together and like he's like he registers like the effect of the booze, and he's like, god damn, like he's like, I like that. That's immersive. But, you know, again, it's like when it's time for game, when it comes time to like free roam through the city, that's when it starts to get real rough. Dude, I walked through I took out 20 people with the sledgehammer. I didn't even need guns. I'm just like, here, chase me, bonk. Hey guy, chase me, bonk.
So is it that the NPC AIs just suck?
For now, yeah. 13 hours in, yeah. I was able to like just dupe them into corners and bonk them, and then if I'm overwhelmed, I still swing the sledgehammer. I'm not even using guns. I swing the sledgehammer and like glitch lock the guys, and they just die.
Yeah, I don't like any of that.
Yeah.
It kind of makes me glad, and I'm not saying this to be an asshole, but it kind of makes me glad that I didn't buy it yet. I think that they should have properly beta tested this a little bit longer, and you know,
it could have waited to 2021, or they could have just said, "Hey guys, this game is a beast, so we're just gonna make it PS5 only. You know, do with that what you will."
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that's a problem, but check this out. I think this morning I read over 100 million sales were PS4, because you know, that's the poor folks. That's the majority of your player base.
I was gonna say, not everybody can afford a fucking PS5 day one. You know, that shit for the digital only, I think is, what is it, $4.99 for the digital only and $500 for the disc?
I think so. But when I found out about the PS4 Pro, I was like, I'm not getting that. I don't give a fuck about 4K. I just want games that are fun.
Right.
Like, that are good. And all the games you're talking about, they're comic books.
Yep.
They're live, they're FMV.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like, and you played 100 hours of one game. Cyberpunk, you know, you spend your entire budget on making sure Keanu's dick looks nice and tight behind the leather pants. You know what I'm saying? Like, we don't need that. Like, we just need a game that's going to be functional, and the story, and it's just something that's going to be something to get lost in.
Well, like, I was looking at, you know, now I'm impatient because I'm starting to near the end. What I think is the end of who the fuck knows with Spike? It's probably another fucking 60 goddamn hours of gameplay.
You thought it was the ending. It's not.
It's not.
What are you doing the next 2 weeks? It's like, right? This, I guess.
Like, you get into a huge story thread, and you're like, oh my god, I'm progressing so nicely, and all of a sudden it goes, to be continued. You must progress more through the story before this chapter gets unlocked. And it's like, but I love it because I know with Chunsoft that even if I pay, you know, if I pay $5 or if I pay $60, I know that they're going to at least respect my time enough to give me an original story that's going to last at least 50 to 60 hours.
Cyberpunk will give you that. I mean, I'm 13 hours in, I'm on 10%. So, I mean, the map is big, there's shit to do, and I think we're not sure, the jury's still out on the story, and I'll get to that in a minute, because that's a lot of where my avalanche is going to come from. My avalanche of words has not started yet, but, like, I have a fear that the game is going to be, like, very Ubisoft-esque, of, like, hey, you like thievery missions? Here's 50 of them across the map. Go. You know what I mean? Or like a lot of the missions, side missions I was doing are all gun for hire. Or stopping a crime. And it's like you go up to the crime spot and it's like, there's crime. stop the criminals. And I'm like, okay. They're all standing there.
Stop crime people.
They're just standing there. I'm like, I guess let's run up and shoot them, I guess. Hey, criminalities. Fucking bam, bam, bam. Sledgehammer.
Excuse me. Are you crime?
I heard there was crime. Are you that crime?
I heard there was criminals in the vicinity. Are you crime?
So
Are
like,
you said crime?
So like, a lot of gun for hire, a lot of break into this place, steal stuff. You know, the stealth is okay. The hand-to-hand combat is not. It's like, you remember Chronicles of Riddick?
Yes.
It's that.
Ugh.
So that, like, take Vin Diesel punch, plus Nico Bellic driving, plus GTA 5 City, and then so far that's Cyberpunk. Like, I'm just gonna keep adding old shit until I get, like, a good facsimile.
Right now it's sounding like I'm not going to buy this game until it goes my greatest hits.
No, you're just gonna play my copy. That's fine. But, you
Knowing
know,
our luck, there's probably some hidden DRM lock on it.
maybe. But, so here's the funny part is the story. So, I'm going through as corporate person and go through the deal. Now, here's the thing, like, the skill trees, I think this is actually, like, the best part of the game. Like, the skill trees are actually 2 different trees in one. So you have, like, 5 different categories, but technically you have 10 different trees and 10 different sets of abilities.
Okay.
That's actually fucking crazy, because you have the perk points and then you have the attribute points. So, like, the attribute points will allow you to get stuff like, hey, do you want to just force your way into, like, a locked window? You need point number 5 for that. You're only on 4. Fucking do some push-ups. But then you have, like, the perk system, which is, like, you know, your punches do extra damage, like 3% damage. It's the RPG aspect.
Right.
The skill trees, to me, was, like, way easier to get into than Witcher. Like, for me, I'm like, you know, the Witcher show is fucking great. Once you put it in game form, it's like, fuck this. That's me, though.
Yeah, but The Witcher is just all fucking, the game is just all grinding.
I've never played
all grinding.
I've never played an RPG where it's like, fuck you, make your own potions. I was like, god damn.
Make your own potions.
Make your own. Usually I just eat the rations, guys. I'm not used to this shit.
Yeah, make your own potions, and like, it was just such. To me, Witcher wasn't fun because, I mean, I would have to fucking. Oh, you want to proceed to this next area? Okay, well, you're gonna have to fucking level grind to fucking level 20 before the first fucking chapter ends.
It felt like busy work.
Yeah.
A lot of it felt like busy work.
It was busy work.
Yeah.
That's exactly what it was.
Cyberpunk doesn't really have that. Like, they tell you, like, you can do, like, literally whatever the fuck you want. It's like, well, I'm just gonna get leveled up in case I need it. So, like, by the time I got to that scene from Night City Wire, where it's like, your decisions are gonna alter the course of fucking history. Ugh. Okay, I'm there now. So it's like, what options do I have? So I was, like, trying to level up not just strength, but also, like, what they call the cool factor.
The cool factor.
Think about, like, Mass Effect, like Paragon or Renegade points that opens up more dialogue options.
Right.
So it's like that, but they call it cool. Cool. So I was, like, basically trying to, like, side hustle the lady who was, like, the government agent. And she's like, you're going to fucking go in there, going to get our weapons back, but I need to get, you know, the drone for sexual chocolate. So she's like, take this fucking money chip, and then I got a virus in it, and we're going to fuck those gang dudes up. But then they don't show you this in the Night City Wire. Like, you actually have to go into, like, you know, when you go read, like, when you, like, Deus Ex.
Mm.
Another thing. Take Deus Ex, plus Riddick punching, plus all the other shit I said.
Plus Nico Bellic.
Equals Cyberpunk so far. I'm just going to keep adding to it. That's the running joke. So
take Nico Bellic, plus Riddick, plus fucking Deus Ex.
Adam Jensen.
Plus fucking Adam Sandler eating a hoagie on a beach. Anyway, continue.
So, Adam Sandler in Deus Ex would be fucking amazing. He's like, I'm sneaky. Fuck that. So, when you go into, like, your journal, and you read all the shit that you find, like the lore. You can actually go into your shit, and when you open up the chip that she gives you, there's an option, and it says crack the code. And it opens up a hacking mini game, so you can hack the virus, so you can do your deal properly. So I went in, hacked the virus, went in, paid them with her money, helped them fight off the government agents, and I got off with my shit.
Yeah.
I was like, sexual chocolate. And then I started the game up, and then it crashed. No, I saved it, and then I drove off a cliff by accident, and then the game froze. I was like, let me fucking go back to the autosave. So yeah, the game's like that. It's like you'll have like a 20-minute like gap of greatness, and then the game will just be like, it's too much to handle. I can't deal with it.
I wonder. Hold on. Give me 1 second. Let me just fucking peek out the door here. It's done installing finally.
Oh, great. But so I found the ZF-1.
Yeah.
It's called the Defender. This is the one that has the replay.
Yeah.
Sends every following shot to the same location.
Yeah. And replay sends every following shot to the same location.
The Defender, what's weird about the game too is that it gives you a fucking ass load of guns.
Okay.
But like, it's like, I got bogged down by having too many guns on me and I couldn't walk. Like, it's like the game's telling you, drop your inventory. But I'm like, I can't, like, I'm struggling to like...
You're like fucking John Rambo with fucking...
Because like, I'm sledgehammering dudes, I go down, and like, they drop cosmetics, you can pick the clothes off their body, and guns, and ammo, and grenades. So I'm just like, square, take everything, fucking, loot. I got like 25 handguns. I'm like, Jesus fucking Christ. You can go dump it in like the Salvation Army box, but I'm like trying to like jump over to the box because I'm too heavy to walk across the street.
It's like fucking Schwarzenegger in Last Action Hero where they're telling him to take all of his weapons off him. Ends up with a fucking pile like this big.
Pretty much.
Like fucking taking guns out of his pockets, out of his fucking belt, out of his fucking chest, out of his fucking, shoulder holsters.
But that Defender gun, dude, like, they had two fucking mechs show up. I pulled that gun out. It was like, gone. And I'm like, what the fuck gun is this? Next mech, grenade exploded. I'm like, Ed 209, get the fuck out of here. Like, let's go. Turn up my Swedish punk rock. So, go through all that, and then what I thought was cool was, as you're playing through the story, you're thinking, okay, so I saw the trailer. I know Mark Henry's gonna fucking betray me.
Right. Sexual thing.
So, what they also incorporate, did you play Batman Arkham shits?
Night, Origins, which one?
Origins or City? I think Arkham City had the same thing. But Origins definitely had the
I was going to say, I played City, I had Origins, I played it for a little bit, and
Did you get to the detective mode?
Yeah.
So you can rewind and fast forward crime scenes?
Mm-hmm.
That is in Cyberpunk. Plus Riddick, plus Adam Sandler, Jensen, plus fucking Nico. So you have to go in, and they call it brain dance. So the brain dance is like Johnny Mnemonic or Strange Days even. They have the file, the memories, and you can replay the memories but shift perspective. Like, who shot Billy? Let's turn... Oh, it was fucking Bob. Billy, you shot Billy, you fuck. So, you brain dance a couple of... Like, they teach you how to brain dance, and like, what's actually pretty sick is you have visual, audio, thermal. So you have 3 levels of fast forwarding, rewinding to find the clues you need. So it's like a little Rubik's Cube.
Oh,
that was fucking neat. That was really sick. I liked it. You walk in, you're in like the girl's like memory, and the robot walks up to you, and the robot's like, "You're very fuckable," and I'm like, "Jesus Christ, robot! Who the fuck is this?" It looks like the bodyguard from Judge Dredd. And like, get the fuck away from me. Rico's gonna pop out like, my boy. But you go through all that forensic type shit, and then you do the mission, and it's always like, dude, I'm sick of the tropes. I'm so tired of them. Even in Cyberpunk, like it's nothing but the same like archetypes for characters. Like, you know, when you play games now, like the third person action shit, and it's like, you know, my name is fucking Glavius from the Sex Lands, or like some bullshit. I'm the proud stoic warrior. Like, it's like every game has that.
My name's Glavius. I'm from the Sex Lands. I mean...
And then like you have like the same thing in Cyberpunk where it's like the, you know, fucking like, oh yeah, you've not heard about fucking Impotent Johnson, the world famous fucking tech billionaire. Like, there's always that. In every fucking story, there's always that.
Right.
So it's like, you're gonna fuck over the Arasakas, they're gonna cut off your ass. They're gonna cut your dicks in half or whatever. You know, it's always the same shit.
Right.
So you go through that, you get basically blamed for, you know, killing the patriarch of fucking corporation you used to work for, basically. And you on the run, then Mark Henry betrays you. So here's the part that's fucked up. So check this out. So you get shot in the head, and all of a sudden...
Like Uma Thurman style in Kill Bill?
Yeah.
Alright.
So he Umas you, and then all of a sudden, you're Keanu.
Okay.
So it starts like a new chapter. You walk on stage, and it's like, he's like, you don't see his face, you just hear his voice. And it's only his voice. Like, there's no inflection, you know what I mean? Like, it's like, Keanu's just fucking Keanu.
He's just that guy.
At all times.
Yeah, he's just that dude.
It's like, you ready to play, Johnny? He's like, fuck you. And he, like, hits the guitar. He's like, I'm saying goodbye. This is my goodbye to all of you. Like, it's like my last gig. And he hits the fucking power chord. And then it changes to, like, oh, he's actually, like, an eco-terrorist. Like, he's an avalanche, basically. And, he, like, Arasaka's fucking Shinra.
Hey!
So he, like... You have, like, this scene where, like, his, like, handgun is, like, the Samaritan from Hellboy, and it's just blowing dudes in half.
Yeah!
Keanu gun is the goal. Keanu gun is life. It's like fucking bam, 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 leather pants. You know what I'm saying? So Keanu plants a bomb, but then the fuck robot kills him. So, like, that's, like, his enemy, Adam Smasher. Oh... Wordplay, you like that?
That's seriously the thing's name?
Yeah, Adam, ADAM, like Adam Bomb, not Adam Smasher. There you go.
Oh, my lord.
So, like, Keanu's fucking dead. Then you go back to your own body, but it's like, follow the stranger, and you're, like, in this weird ghost world, and you're, like, following Keanu, and you're, like, you tap him on the shoulder, he's like, who are you? And all of a sudden, you wake up, and then, like... Fast forward to you get home after getting fucking dumped in the junkyard, and like Keanu's just like in your brain now. And you're trying to take medicine, and he's like, you fucking bitch, just kill yourself. And I'm like, I'm trying to play the game, and my daughter's in the room. And I'm like trying to turn it down, but I want to hear the dialogue.
Right.
But I'm like, Keanu, can you just language, bro? Can you fucking just chill? He's like, fucking fuck. I'm like, that's like a lot of fucks.
There are many fucks that you are relaying right now.
So here's I feel like you're already seeing where I'm going with this. You go to the doctor, and the doctor says, well, you have Keanu Reeves in your head, and he's going to overwrite you.
Yep.
I feel like I wrote a book like this about 5 years ago.
Yeah.
So here's the thing that's weird.
Sounds familiar.
So here's the thing that's weird for me. Like, look, I'm a nobody, and I wrote a very similar story about 5 years ago that's in a cyberpunk world, and I see this in a game 5 years later, and it's like, I can be salty about that, right? Can I be salty about that? Is that weird?
You are allowed to be salty.
Okay, I'm a little salty. I'm like, what the fuck, dudes? So... You're basically learning how to coexist with Keanu while he's going to basically take over your body, which is what my book was about.
I was going to say, doesn't that happen to Stanley in your book?
Yeah, that's what happens in my book. But...
Where Adam's just like, yeah, I'm taking you over. Fuck you, man.
So what my book does differently, and what my story was more about, was social engineering. Where... You know, when you think about it now, like when the Russian hackers call you and trick you to go buy gift cards, Vax, my hacker character, does that to a person. Like, he social engineers his body from you. They make a whole business out of it. There's a whole shadow government that does that because it's untraceable.
Right.
So that's where the government is able to have clean hands. You just have a bunch of kamikaze pilots. Interesting premise.
Right.
It can work in any medium, like a video game or a movie, whatever. But like this, I don't know. Like it feels. It kind of cheapened it for me. Like, I'm still gonna play it, I'm still gonna enjoy it, but the fact that they're like doing like a cheaper version of something that I thought of, kind of cheapens it for me. It kind of just makes it like
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But there's just a whole lot more saying with the word fuck.
Which is kind of a letdown. It's kind of a letdown, really. You know, we've been waiting for Cyberpunk, and I know you have been on pins and needles waiting for this damn thing to come out.
Big time.
And I know you're more into the Cyberpunks, you know, kind of stuff than I am, but...
It is disappointing.
It's just sad that my fellow Polish people are letting me down like this.
Maybe, you know, I don't know. Look, I mean, all this shit started from a tabletop game. So, like, I know they did a Cyberpunk game with Dennis Hopper in it that was like FMV back in the 90s.
Mm-hmm.
I think this is just like the 50 years later of the same city. But, like, I don't know. A lot of it feels like retreads of stuff we've already seen.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if you watch Altered Carbon, it's like a lot of the same shit. If you read any Cyberpunk book that's on Amazon, you're gonna get the same shit. Like, in the city, there's fucking guns and cyborgs, and then there's fucking intrigue. You know, the same...
they've been doing shit like that ever since the fucking 80s, though.
Yeah.
I mean, like...
Blade Runner made it sexy.
Blade Runner... I mean, you want to talk about, like, that kind of fucking weird cyberpunk, like, futuristic kind of shit. You can look at Blade Runner, you can look at movies like Total Recall, Running Man, that kind of shit. Like, you know, everybody's done the cyberpunk rehashing and storytelling and all that kind of stuff. It takes something very special to make it unique. And that's the tricky part, and that was the part I was afraid of when they announced this game. Is I'm like, it's going to be very easy to...
Go the safe route.
Start going the safe route.
The usual route.
Yeah.
And so far they did. I mean, look, I'm 13% in the game, 13 hours, 13% in the game. I'm going to fucking max out as much as I can, but, you know, it's missing something that makes it unique into itself. Like, what about this game, this world, makes it interesting besides just stuff that you've been informed in the past? Like, you want robot dicks? Got it.
You want robot dicks, cocks? But, like, from what, I mean, to your point, it's missing, you know, it may have cool elements, guns, whatever, but it's missing what separates it from other stuff, from other sci-fi operations or other, you know, not even just games, sci-fi movies, books, that kind of stuff.
It's missing something key in terms of its personality.
Right. Like, you're trying to create something, you know, to an Asimov scale in a visual medium, and like, I get it can be difficult, but sometimes you have to take chances, risks, be bold, like, fuck it, roll the dice, see if it works. If it works, that's great. If it doesn't...
Yeah, I kind of sat back and I was like, okay, so if I was going to write this thing, what would I do? And it's like, well, don't think about it now. Finish the story and then see where the holes are. But so far, it's like, I like how the game gives you chances to fuck with the story. Like, the idea of going in and, like, altering the money so you can make your own deal, like, that's a totally optional thing. And, like, you can go through that whole mission without even calling the government chick and going to see her. You can just ignore that. it's optional to call her, it's optional to go visit her, and it's optional to fuck with the money. So that's like, I like that sort of choose your own adventure part. But then to have it all kind of converge to the same thing, it's like,
yeah,
well,
that's gonna be one thing that pisses me off.
that takes the originality, it takes the uniqueness out of the character and the point of the story. Because if I've got 3 different unique characters, their arcs should be different, their decisions should be different.
Right.
And I thought you guys were taking 8 years because you wanted to think of every possible notion and program it. Like a choose your own adventure book.
Yeah.
But they didn't do that. It's like, maybe they thought Keanu's personality could carry the story and they didn't feel like they could come up with shit that was strong enough. I don't know.
It kind of feels like, from what you were saying, it kind of feels like Mass Effect 3 in the reverse. Instead of doing it at the end of the game, where you have these supposed choices, you're doing it at the beginning of the game.
And then they just like, here, run around Night City and don't think about the story, or just basically like, you know, build up your character as much as you want. But it's like, you know, even the cosmetics, it's like, you know, you put on like these different, like, you know, they give you like a scarf, but it's like a special cyber scarf. You know,
It's special cyber scarf. It's got gears and stuff. Look, gears.
Why am I wearing a fucking trilby? This is Cyberpunk. Why does the trilby have armor points? You tell me there's a fucking like fedora? I could find a magical cyber fedora is gonna fix my character up?
Well, yeah. I mean, the fedora actually, you know, there's a button in it. And you know.
Oh, face shields?
Gives you a face shield.
Oh fuck, dude. Is that at Kohl's?
Actually, no. That's more of a high-priced item. That's like Saks Fifth Avenue. So.
Christ.
I mean.
So I mean, think about this, dude. Like all the shit I'm telling you, you're waiting 6 hours. We had a cocktail party and we watched all the UFC fights, and it just now is ready.
Mm-hmm.
So like, how jazzed are you to play it now that all this shit has come to life?
You know, if I would have bought the game and I would have had this happen, I probably would have been pretty fucking pissed off about it.
You think so?
Yeah.
I'm not. I feel like I'm enjoying it, but like you know, as a writer too, I've got that writer brain going like, I don't really like that.
Yeah, no, it's that's one thing that like irritates me with Sony is like, for a lot of other things you can play while something, you know, when it used to be like on PC or on the original PlayStation games, like if it was updated, you got to play after the update reached a certain point. This one, you have to wait for the fucking day 0 and day 1 patch to finish installing before you can play. And both fucking updates are 45 gigs a piece.
That's a lot.
That's a lot.
And look at, I'll take it home. I'll play it tomorrow morning. And I'm gonna run down the street, and I'm gonna see the same fucking pop in and pop out. But then look, it's like PS4 Pro and PC. It's fine, but like it still dips under 30 frames per second. But see, I'm not really a graphics guy, so that doesn't really bother me. But it is choppy.
See,
Like it's too big to handle.
yeah, frame rate drops don't really bother me all that much. But, you know, if you're going to wait this long to release a game to the general public, at least make sure it's semi-functioning. Like, what you're telling me is, like, unacceptable. You fucking just fired it up, and then within the first 13 hours, how many times has it crashed and froze on you?
Crashed once, but froze up and then like unlocked itself like a lot.
Yeah, that's a problem. If you're designing a game for a system whose processing power is unable to make the game function in an acceptable manner, like you said, I would have just came out and said...
I forgot. Also, there are times too when you bring up the menu, the words are like scrambled, but like when you move your mouse, like the highlighted squares are still there. So it's like, which one is this one? Oh, that's options. So like, which one's map? Like, I forgot that one.
That's a serious problem for me. So
Like just going to inventory, like fucks up, like the menu. Like the menu is like, huh, what? Oh, letters are supposed to go there. Sure, okay, fuck. Here they are.
yeah,
Like it's like, I think the game can't handle, at least on the PS4 level, the big city moving by itself and then stopping it, and then you making a change to it, and then starting it up again. That's where it's like, oh fuck, like I can't, like it's like Atlas holding up the world. Like I can't fucking deal with all these moving parts. You know what I mean?
yeah. Yeah, that just leads me to believe that this is going to end up being if I do purchase it on my own, it would be a greatest hits purchase for me. Not like it won't happen within the next couple months.
Nah, I'm gonna go through the game and then I'm gonna enjoy it as much as I can. Shit on the story because I'm I'm an overthinker, and then move on to Down Gone. But I guess all in all, it is kind of sad that it didn't like blow me away. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of disappointing when games do that. Like, you're super hyped up for it, and then when you start playing it, you're like, God, I wish they would have done this, or I wish they would have done that. They could have kept this and taken this out. Or...
They honestly, like, dude, like, you could cut the city size in half for me. Because Deus Ex, you got 30 hours in, like, 2 city blocks. You can go to every single fucking room on those city blocks.
Right.
Night City could have been the same thing. Cut the city in half. Beef up the character customization. You can even cut the story in half. I don't even give a fuck. Cut the story in half. And then just let me free roam.
Yeah. Like I said, I wish people would pay more attention to the stories than everything else. Map sizes, characters, that kind of thing. Like,
it's the biggest city in the video game history. Like, yeah, but does it run? Death Stranding had a big map. Death Stranding, you walk across the entire map of America. That shit never froze. That shit never crashed. Sam can get in a fucking car and haul ass.
Yep.
And there's no... Even when the environment changes drastically, when the oil monsters come out, the game don't lock up. When the fucking, when the big boys show up, the game don't lock up. The game's fine. So there you go. I mean, like, everybody's gonna shit on Walking Simulator. Hey, you can complete your walk in Death Stranding. In Cyberpunk, you got some trouble. Also, there's like, sometimes you walk up to people, like NPCs, and like their face won't load. So they have like no face, like fucking Dick Tracy.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I forgot that too. And
That's almost as bad as like the Assassin's Creed fucking glitches where it would like take the skin off.
Yeah, it's just like teeth and eyes and like a tongue that's
Yep.
like going through the teeth, and it's like, please kill me. It's like fucking Alien Resurrection. You're like, okay, here's my flamethrower. So maybe 7 out of 10. I don't know if that's too generous, but that's what I'm feeling.
Okay.
I mean, the fact we couldn't live stream it without us having to pass out because we were just fucking waiting too long, and we decided to just have a UFC party.
I was gonna say, yeah. Because it's fucking, it's late.
It's late. We're recording super late. Carlos was here, but he blacked the fuck out. Good on him. Because, Jesus. It's been a long night. It's a good night, but it's a long night. Just waiting for this fucking game to load. It's kind of like, you've kind of ruined our plan. Motherfucker.
Because, like, I'm over here, and I'm like, I had to get up and walk around a bit because I'm starting to get a little heavy-lidded myself, but...
Yeah.
It's late at night. We've been waiting fucking a long time for it to download, and by the time it's done downloading, it's like, I'm fucking tired.
You got a better Wi-Fi. You have a signal booster. My Wi-Fi, that game took a long fucking time to install, man, and it's like, this game better be good.
Yeah.
It better be good.
Like, for me, at least, like, Final Fantasy VII Remake's file was huge, too.
Yeah.
But, like, it paid off. Like, graphically, it was great. The characters are great. Yeah, the dialogue was iffy.
Even Tsushima.
Yeah.
Tsushima's map is fucking huge. It's 3 islands. No freezing. You get on your horse. You can fast travel across the fucking continent. Flute. There. That's it.
Right.
Fucking boom. And it's like, Lord Sakai, come here.
Well, and that's my other problem is that Cyberpunk is a 2-disc set. One's a data disc, one's a play disc. So all the stuff on that data disc should be transferred over and should be transferred over correctly to my system.
Yeah.
And
Or is it? Is it actually fucking Polish spyware? That's the trick. Cyberpunk's hacking you from within, bro.
come get me, Poland.
Keanu clones are gonna come to the door with fucking jackboots and fucking pistols.
Awesome. Can I talk to Keanu? Can I be like, hey, bro?
They're gonna pistol whip you while doing lines from Johnny Mnemonic.
Yes. I want room service. But yeah, I'm gonna wait for that game to come out on greatest hits before I buy my own copy of it. Because I mean, you're saying 7 out of 10, but your description of the game sounds more like a 5.
It was really fun hitting people with the hammer. And the ZF1 is no joke, dude.
I was gonna say ZF1. For all those that don't know what that's from my favorite movie, The Fifth Element, who one of the actors just passed.
R.I.P. Tiny Lister.
Yep, R.I.P. Tiny Lister.
This is the president.
This is the president. You're not the president. The president's an idiot, and you don't sound like an idiot. But yeah, I feel like CDPR really missed out on a golden opportunity to just make this huge. And I'm sure that, like you said, it sold a lot of copies, but it could have been so much more than what it is.
I think it broke the record, but I think time will tell as I go through it if the story really follows through or if the story is just like copy paste, fuck, gunshots, Tarantino standoff, the end. You know what I mean?
Right, and the thing is that, I'm trying to think of how to articulate this. As you said, it's lazy. It's really playing it safe. I don't want to use the term paint by numbers, but it kind of feels like a paint by numbers kind of thing.
That's valid as fuck. Say that. Because even the commercial, in Night City, you can do whatever you want, be what you want. Not really.
Well,
not really.
I mean, it feels almost like a Todd Howard kind of con job. Where Todd came out and he's like, Skyrim, fucking amazing. And everybody that's ever played a Bethesda game knows that game is going to glitch to absolute hell.
I still haven't played Skyrim. Maybe one day I'll play Skyrim.
Fuck, that game is stupid.
If I can speed run Cyberpunk just holding a pot and going through walls, then it becomes 10 out of 10.
Yeah, no, Skyrim's just terrible because, and I showed you that meme earlier tonight, but Todd just doesn't want to let Skyrim die.
No.
And he's trying to save everybody until Elder Scrolls 6 comes out. But I don't want a shitty game that's buggy and glitchy. Games like Dangan, 428, those games weren't really graphically all that rich, but what they lack in graphics, they make up for with coherent story.
Yeah.
And characters that you're actually going to give a shit about. And that kind of ties back into the last episode we did with League. And I know, like, you keep telling me, like, I feel, you feel bad because you showed me that movie. Don't. Because it was going to be a 50-50 shot on whether I liked it or I hated it.
That's true.
But, like, in League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, I gave a shit about none of the characters in that movie.
Yeah. American style.
None.
It's modified.
Yeah. I didn't give a fuck. I wanted all of them to die.
By my own hand.
The only one that, like...
As I shove this DVD into my asshole and clench.
The only one that I kind of gave a shit about was Quartermain. And it wasn't really because of Quartermain. It was because of Sean Connery.
Oh, yeah.
But, like... Everybody's just so concerned about... We have a new battle system, or we have a new mapping system, or we have new characters, or something like that, than developing character story arcs, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And actually making the player's experience worthwhile.
Just like when I was going through the character creation, and it was like, the dude voice is like, I'm V, and the girl's voice is, I'm V. And it's like, that's all I get, huh?
Yeah.
Alright.
Well, like, and I was even telling you earlier I've had storylines where everybody lives. I've had storylines where everybody but Date dies. And, like, you start to feel for some of them because... they write these tragic backstories, and, like, you actually feel like you feel emotional connection with some of these characters because you're like, fuck, that's savage.
They put in the work.
Yeah, they put in the work. They're willing to do it. And like I said, these games aren't, really all that graphically rich. A lot of them are cel shaded or, like 428. All 428 was image in the background, text over top.
But they made that, like, suspenseful.
Well, you gave a shit about the characters because they were, not two-dimensional. Or one-dimensional. And that's a lot of what, Cyberpunk is sounding to me like. It's very one-dimensional on a lot of things.
Yeah, time will tell. I'm gonna go through it. I'm not gonna, like, platinum it or 100% it, but I don't really have a desire to go through the other hour-long cutscenes just to do the same Act 2 and Act 3. I'll just watch it on YouTube. And I'm going to finish my pissed off Puerto Rican cyber girl story with Keanu.
Pissed off Puerto Rican cyber girl.
I mean, she looks Puerto Rican. I couldn't get her to look exactly like Janelle's skin tone, so I'm just going to call her Puerto Rican Patty or whatever.
Puerto Rican face. Hey, Puerto Rico face.
But, we'll see. I'm going to remain cautiously optimistic that the story has a decent ending. But so far, man, I don't know. It's a lot of the same old shit. And I think it was either Kotaku or Polygon had a headline. And it said Cyberpunk is more dad rock than new wave. And I was like, yikes.
Yikes.
That's a yikes, dude.
Yikers.
So after playing Cyberpunk, I was like, you know what? I love Refused and all, but I need some Death Grips.
Yeah.
Death Grips is about as cyberpunk as they're gonna fucking get, and the fact that they're not in the game is kind of a crime because they're the real punks. They're like the closest thing to punk in the last 10 years as far as music, and the fact that they're not in there is kind of lame to me.
Yeah, I wish...
You want to start this fucker up?
Oh.
I want to see if it glitches on your TV like it did mine. Let's
go start it.